We are back for a transfer special today, but I think it's going to be different to the last one. We've already spent more than half the money on a player. It's the start of June. That is right. Welcome Elise to the club. £93 million. I'm smashing my wage structure to bring him in too, but he is one of the best players in Football Manager. Transfer listed by request. There was loads of teams interested in him. I've cut in the queue ahead of Man City to secure his signature. And it has cost me a lot of my transfer budget. Yeah, normally transfer windows, then transfer specials, they have this nice slow burn where we try and sell some players and bring in some players. I am selling some players, but yeah, it's going to be difficult to make another big transfer, I think. I have already sold a player, mind you. Bryan Mbeumo is on his way to PSG. We have sold him for what felt like a great fee, £77 million. So in some ways, we've sold Mbeumo, brought in Elise, and it's cost us £16 million. And I think when you phrase it like that, it's a pretty good deal. I feel like when you look at the head-to-head comparison here, there is no contest. Elise is going to be a great upgrade for a set attacking midfielder. But like I said, I'm bringing him in for £400,000. It's going to be £93 million of the transfer budget. There's not a lot of budget left. And I am spending some of that remaining budget on another Frenchman. Yeah, we have a lot of French players in our team. Yon Gadou here is the man I'm looking to bring in from Salzburg. Available for £14.5 million. A sensational player who I know has bags of potential. And my scouts are really bigging him up. Felt like maybe we needed an upgrade at centre-back. Yoro hasn't really improved as much as I hoped he would. And of course, he did that whole Panenka thing in the Champions League, which upset me. And I think Gadou is just a really good longer-term option at centre-back. Can play out on that right-hand side. He's absolutely massive and has 19 jumping reaches, which is going to be good. Looking to get that deal over the line. Hello, I'm recording. I'm recording. Do you want to say hello? Do you want to say hello? Uppies. I had a puppy invade the video. If you hear weird noises in the background today, he's just enjoying his chew. Are you going back out or do you want to chill in here? You can't really chill in here with a chew, mate. Puppies! Ow! For people who don't know what that was, that's my puppy, Milo. He appears on the streams from time to time. If you've not watched them, either on YouTube and Twitch. But anyway, I do think the arrival of, Elise is going to throw a bit of a spanner into the works of Esteval and Mora's development, but I think it's probably a move for the greater good. Like I mentioned, I do think that Yoro will be replaced by Gadou if we get that signing over the line. So if we just kind of free up these spots, I'm imagining we're going to be, looking something like this. There is a world in which I try and get a world-class defensive mid in. I'm a little bit kind of acutely aware. Bruno is not the best from a defensive point of view, and it has cost us in some games. I could see there being a world where I try and get in a new defensive mid, then either move Buadi across to play box-to-box playmaker, or maybe just bring in a box-to-box playmaker anew. Obviously, to make that happen with the budgets that we currently have is going to be tricky, but I think if this was our team with the new additions, we'd be pretty nicely set for the new season. In terms of the players I'm looking to move out, obviously, Mbeumo is on his way out. Lewis Miley, I need to get a loan for to try and get him some game time. I'm kind of open to selling him as well if the right offer is out there. Elsewhere, is there anyone else I'm desperate to get rid of? I mean, Cunha's got interest in him, and it's probably in my interest to move him on, especially with Elise arriving. £60 million is what I've offered him out for. I did get an offer from Inter, which I accepted, but then it turned out they didn't have a room for a non-EU player. There's like a rule in Italy where you can't sign so many players from outside the EU. Inter were already at their limit, but the AI still makes bids, and then the deal kept falling through. So that was a bit annoying, because I thought I was getting rid of this bloke at one point. And elsewhere, Marcus Rashford is entering the final year of his contract. There is no way anyone is going to pay his wages. And after the season that he just had, I just don't see a world in which he's ever going to be useful for me. 2 goals in 25 games in the league. Anyway, like I said, it is still very early days in terms of the summer transfer window. I will now confirm the Elise transfer. That feels like a sensible thing to do. He won't go through until the 16th of June, so I guess I'll join you then. The transfer window is going to be open in England. Maybe there's going to be some scope to get some deals done then. Okay, well, Elise and Gadou have both arrived. We got that Gadou deal done for £14.5 million, but with those dealings done, that is quite a lot of the transfer budget gone. I think the plan of attack for today's transfer especially is actually going to be to get through the whole of the transfer window and try and play the Community Shield today. I don't know why, in my head, Elise to Manchester United just feels like a transfer that could happen. Maybe not in the next 2 years, but in the kind of duration of his career, I could see it. Great mentals, great technicals. To be honest, he's not the quickest wider player in the world, but obviously for us, he's going to be playing through the middle. There's no denying. He's literally one of the best attacking midfielders in the game, though. And Gadou is also here. His value is immediately jumped up. Kind of shocked he's not yet played for the French national team. And obviously with his arrival, we have so many French players in our team. How many do we have now? 7? Or 6? 6 in the first team. I might go out and try and find some more. Now, in terms of dealings, I've had some offers on various players. Aiden Heaven, I think I am going to let go. He's just not really developed as much as I thought he would. Whilst he is homegrown at club, we actually don't need more homegrown at club players right now. Maybe there's a world where I just loan him out, but I feel like he might be worth a decent amount of money. And then the rest of these transfers that have had offers on that I need to reply to, really just players in the under-21s who are probably never going to break into our first team. If I can get decent future percentages, maybe a buyback, I'll probably just let them all go. And Puemo, by the way, has now officially left the club. I think we did pretty well to get £77 million for him. Yes, he's been good on his day for us, but being real, it's not like he's been one of our key players during his time at the club. I am being asked to set my expectations for the season. I feel like we need to be making at least the knockout rounds of the Champions League. In some ways, I want to put the round of 16. We made it to the semi-final last year. If I do up it, we do get a little bit more money. Actually, I feel like the most significant rise is just for saying get into the knockout round. So I think we'll go with that. Obviously, you can see the remaining transfer budget and wage budget. There's not a load of money available now. We have done some business. It's the 25th of June now. I really wish at this point I could tell you Rashford's on his way out, Kenya's on his way out, and all these other players I don't really want are on their way out. I mean, there's interest in them. We have accepted a bid for Miley as well for a loan. And it is worth noting the Community Shield is only 37 days away against Liverpool. It feels like a short pre-season all of a sudden. Miley is hopefully on his way to Norwich. The big deal, though, is another Frenchman. And actually, it's a player on the end. It's Aurélien Tchouameni. Yeah, we're paying a lot of money for him. It's £32 million up front, £50 million over 3 years for the 27-year-old. And I just feel like a world-class defensive midfielder might just be the final missing piece in the puzzle for our team. I think if we bring him in to play alongside Bouadi, we could be cooking. I mentioned my rough plan for the team. The plan is coming together, kind of in and out of possession. I feel like this is how we could line up. Bouadi would play as a box-to-box playmaker, which, to be fair, with 17 vision, 16 passing, and his physical's improving, I really feel like he could do for us. And then Tchouameni would just come in at defensive mid. Obviously, like I said, I'm paying £30 million for him, so I do need to find some money from somewhere. And in case you haven't realised by my transfer approach now, I am going all in for this coming season. We are going for the title. I want to win the Champions League as well if we can. There are a few players in the youth team I am wondering if I should try and move on, like Taourat Sumida at 23 years old hasn't really improved at Espanyol, but he's valued in the region of £30 million, which for a man who didn't really play that much for us, who we signed for, what, £5 million? Like, it would be a crazy turnover if we could get that kind of money for him. Aiden Heaven is still here now. I actually sorted out a loan move and then he turned it down, which was a little bit annoying. There's various players coming back from loan, including Rajkovic. I actually think Rajkovic might be my number 2 goalie next year. And then the plan might be, when it comes to the goalies, to then look to sell Lamans, because with respect to him, at 24, he's just never going to be good enough to be our first choice. Rajkovic is better than him. And I kind of look at the valuation and think we should cash in on the 24-year-old. By the way, the season has rolled over in-game. And if we look at the updated season preview, we are 5th in it. You can see here kind of our predicted 11. Apparently, I'm going to play a 4-4-2. I can tell you now, resoundingly, I am not. But you can see here both Livramento and Elise in the Media Dream 11. I feel like we're starting to look a lot better. Okay, well, Aiden Heaven is still here. I'm hoping we can get rid of him eventually, but that's not why I've returned 3 days since you were last here. I've returned because we are going to get this Tchouameni dealing over the line, rejig the budgets a little bit to get this one done. We can accept it. And to be honest, that might be the last major transfer we do this window. Cunha is currently talking to Inter Milan again. They made a £60 million bid. I think it's just going to get cancelled again. Tchouameni is here, and I'll tell you what, that might, to me, feel like the final missing piece in the puzzle. Have had a load of players' contracts expire, including Bayern Deer, who I'm quite glad to have half the wages. No one wanted to buy him. With all the wheeling and dealing we've done, we're very much up against our budget. Yeah, we could do a little bit of shuffling around, actually, to kind of improve this here. And then, if we hit continue, the wages should update. I I forgot all the players who were out on loan have returned. Okay, we're still over the wage budget. There is still work to be done here. I mean, right now, the first team sits at 27 players. I think my main MO now is just to try and get rid of some players. Our first game, in kind of a competitive sense, is a little over a month away against Liverpool. I've got a few games set up in pre-season. I'll come back once we've got some deals going on. I mentioned Cunha might be on his way to Inter. Spoilers, they didn't have a non-EU slot for him, so that deal fell through yet again. I've offered him out repeatedly. No one wants him despite a list of teams being interested. And another player who I've been desperate to get rid of is Marcus Rashford, who is still here. He's repeatedly turning down offers. I'm trying to get a loan deal done. No one wants to pay the fee for him up front. And obviously, I'm going to lose him on a free at the end of the year. I'm trying to get someone to loan him with an option after like 10 games that they have to buy him for a price, so I get a little bit of money for him. There is some interest in him. No one can afford his wages. He's turned down, I think, 2 different clubs so far. I have been lining up an option for if I can move on Cunha or Rashford. I'd love to sign CDK, who is just an absolutely immense player, a bit of a unicorn player. And what I mean by that is he's just quite unique, isn't he? He's great in the air, great speed, very, very well-rounded. Not your traditional goal-scoring striker, perhaps, with only 14 finishing and 13 composure, but he's just a really well-rounded player who, on his day, could also slot in at centre attacking mid. The issue I've kind of got right now that I'm a bit aware of is that I am extremely reliant on Sesko. Like, Sesko's goals for us last year did carry us, and Ryan as a backup I think is fine, but he didn't really prove that he was a goal scorer, and I'd kind of be content with him being a third choice striker this year. Obviously, we have Rashford and Cunha, who I'm actively looking to move on. If I move on one of those, it should just about free up the funds for CDK. And that might come as a shock to you, because I am having to pay a £62 million release clause, but we have got some sales done. I mean, look at the recruitment. £41 million in the bank. Who did I get rid of, I hear you ask? Couple of players for some decent money. Shaquille Van Persie left to go to Fulham. Honestly, he just never really shone with us. I've actually taken an £1 million loss. But yeah, he did it improve in 2 years, and I'm done with the sentimentals. I want to win now. I needed money. We were able to sell Lamans as well. I kind of mentioned the fact I'd like to get this done, so Rajkovic now will be the backup option for us. In the end, if we just look at things here, we got £26 million for him, which I think is a pretty good return for a rather average goalie. At least in Football Manager terms. In real life, he's great. I think in January, he's probably going to be one of the few United players that gets a bit of an upgrade to their current ability in game. And this last sale pains me a little bit because it was our first transfer when we joined the club, but the money you can't really argue with. Kota Taratsumida has left the club. How much did we get for him? £29 million from a Saudi Arabian club. Shout out to Al Ettifaq. Yeah, that is some pretty nice money to get for a man who was out on loan last year and probably was never going to be good enough to play for us. Now, like I said, it's good money. Sadly, it's not the kind of money that means I can go out and sign CDK right away, but he probably would only be a useful signing if I can get rid of either Rashford or Cunha. Saying all of that, I have made one additional transfer since you were last here. This might feel like a bit of a weird one, but I've signed Aseko. The German centre-mid is just a versatile option. We signed him for, I think it was £10 million? £9.5 million we paid for him, and I appreciate that might seem like a weird dealing, but actually he's coming in to be the 5th choice defensive mid this year, but also a backup at right wing back. My current right back options are Livramento and Ahmad. I like Ahmad, but from a defensive point of view, he's a liability. I'm going to train Aseko here to play at right back and right wing back over time. And given the fact he's 21, I think there's kind of a third choice right back option this year and also offering that defensive mid coverage. For £10 million, it's one of those boring, sensible transfers that's kind of necessary in case there's ever an injury crisis. Now, pre-season so far is going rather well. Ignore the draw against Orlando City, please. But yeah, in general, things are looking on the up. Sadly, our ranking in the season preview hasn't climbed, although I've not noticed this changing during pre-season. It probably has changed and I'm just not paying enough attention. Yeah, I'd like to think we are predicted to finish higher than 5th with the additions we've made. And while we do have the Community Shield scheduled for in less than 2 weeks' time, I think I'm just going to come back for that game against Liverpool. Hopefully we've signed CDK, hopefully Cunha or Rashford's gone. But besides all of that, it's been a very tame transfer window, I feel like. Okay, well, I've already delayed this deal multiple times. I've got to try and delay it, I think, for a 2nd or 3rd time at this point. I have a sneaking suspicion Atalanta are going to be sick of me. Obviously, CDK's not affordable, that does mean Cunha and Rashford are still here. I tried to get rid of him. I tried to get rid of Rashford to go to Lens. £40 million after 5 matches. He turned down their contract offer. Aiden Heaven, I've been trying to get rid of all summer. He keeps turning down moves. There are a couple of players like Guagua who I'm going to get rid of for a tiny sum of money, and also Di Pieri, who I'm hoping we can sell on. I'm basically trying to cobble together pennies in the hopes that gives me enough for CDK. If it doesn't, I think we will have at least like £50 million to go out and sign someone if we want to. It will always annoy me that on the transfers in, it's always like, and transfers out, it's always split across the 2 seasons. So if we go here, we can look at obviously the fact we signed Elise and Gadou, and then the only other signings I've made this summer have been Aseko and Tchouameni. I've signed 4 French players. Since you were last here, though, there has been no more transfers out secured, which is a bit annoying because there's a few players that I think are worth money, or at least worth loaning out to develop, that just I can't get moves for right now. But you know what? It's time for a pretty big game. Yes, it's only the Community Shield. And yes, I forgot to get to the kickoff time because I'm an idiot. But yeah, Liverpool at Wembley. We beat them in the FA Cup final. I want to beat them again here. I feel like the big thing that this transfer window has kind of underscored is the fact we've added some quality without really sacrificing on the overall ability of our team. And I feel like that can only really be a good thing. Obviously, in terms of team news, let's run through the starting 11. Chevalier is in goal. He is just a lock-in as our long-term goalkeeping option. A great little goalie who, with his distribution, I think is going to be really vital to us this year. At the back, Gadou is making his debut. He's already arrived at the club and started to improve, which is really promising. Allegedly has a little bit more potential left to fulfill. So hopefully that is kind of the first of many developments and the first of many green arrows we're going to see on his profile. The other 2 centre-backs in our ranks are going to be Gay and Murillo. Of course, Murillo still playing as that advanced centre-back. His versatility to play defensive mid and left-back is kind of unparalleled. Gay, probably the better player overall and probably our best defender. To be honest, he wasn't a standout player last year. It would be great if he could step up and be kind of a real leader at the back. Tchouameni is part of our French pivot in the midfield. The 27-year-old has arrived for big money, but I feel like he kind of solves a problem that's been going on for a while. And alongside Bouadi, we now have 2 players who are absolute defensive rocks in our starting 11. Livramento was perhaps our signing of the year last year, and I hope he can keep things going out on the right-hand side. And well, it might come as a little bit of a surprise to see Dorgu still starting at left-back for us. He's only 22. I'm hoping he can still improve a little bit. I did look at other left-back options out there, but to be honest, there wasn't really anyone I like the look of. I think his position is the one position where if I don't sign CDK and I can't get rid of Cunha or Rashford, maybe I look towards putting whatever transfer money I have got towards a left wing back who can play left mid, but it's a really tricky position to recruit. Fernandes played at defensive mid for us for much of last year. He is back in at centre attacking mid. He is currently in what appears to be the final year of his contract, but actually he's already agreed to a new contract at the club, which can you not see in the game currently? You'll have to take my word for it. He's agreed a new contract. It's £400,000 a week next season, which is an insane amount of money to offer him, but the reason he wanted $400,000 is because of this man. Yeah, I kind of broke the bank to bring in Elise, and I knew it might send our wage spend kind of spiralling a little bit. But when a player of this quality is available, I feel like you've just got to get the deal done. And last but not least, leading the line, we have Benjamin Sesko. He's got 20 league goals in the last couple of seasons, continuing to improve, and the 24-year-old is the man who I have full faith in to lead the line. I would love to know down in the comments, when it comes to transfer specials, do you prefer the kind of hyper-in-detail scouring for players, or do you prefer the let's just go through a few weeks at a time, give you updates as stuff happen? I think with a transfer window like this one, where we spent so much of our budget immediately, there was never really going to be that much searching going on. Also, it's raining. It's always raining in this save game. I don't even feel like that's confirmation bias at this point. But it's first game of the season. Some will say this does not matter. In my mind, it absolutely matters. We are playing in our white kit. We're taking on our rivals. Anytime Manchester United beat Liverpool, it's a game of significance for either set of fans. And it would be a great start to the season to get the mental edge over the team who, well, last year, they won the Champions League and they won the Premier League. They did what we want to do this year. And well, winning this game, I guess, would be, I don't know. It made me feel like we can do it ourselves. Okay, we are hopefully going to be singing in the rain come the end of this game. But for now, we've got to deal with the fact that they've got Eden Militao in their defence. I should have noticed that sooner. They must have signed him this year. He was not in their team before. Real Madrid have let Tchouameni and Eden Militao go. And Sesko's on the attack. That is a sensational finish. I paused because I thought, why has he run to the side netting? How has he squeezed that in? Allison laid it short to Kanate. Sesko steams in. Did anyone else think he'd gone too wide? He runs here and you think, why have you gone to there? I'll tell you why. He's got the ability to squeeze it in. That finish, by the way, was on his weaker foot. That is absolutely sensational. I mean, it gives us the lead. There's only 10 minutes left of this first half. Liverpool really haven't created a lot in this game. Also, Bruno has picked up a yellow card. Water is still wet. I mean, so far, we've kept Liverpool really, really quiet. I feel like I've really gassed up our defensive ability in a lot of the transfers we've done, or at least the Elise transfer specifically. And I guess Tchouaméni to an extent to move Fernandes forward. Those transfers are about just trying to get a little bit more firepower and a little bit more in service to this man. It is 2-0. Bruno at centre attacking mid, right on cue, grabs his first assist of the season. Lovely build-up play here. Sesko is on his bike. Was that Van Dijk? No, it's Eder Militao. Left it in the dust. Oh, I've just realised. Real Madrid signed Van Dijk, didn't they? So Liverpool have signed Eder Militao in response. I mean, given how good Van Dijk is in game, that's going to be a massive miss for Liverpool this year, you'd have to think. Anyway, there's 4 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. We have the ball at the back. The rain is continuing to lash down. And if I'm being honest, I kind of wish there was a setting to turn it off because it's distracting at times. Dorgu burns his man, cuts inside Buadi. Playing as a box-to-box playmaker, Elise, Sesko, it's offside. But that is a taster of what we might be able to produce this year. I feel like in real life, there's always the intrigue when it comes to the Community Shield around kind of, you know, the teams that have made big new transfers. I remember when Haaland and Darwin Núñez made their debuts for Man City and Liverpool. I feel like with our kind of team here, there's a little bit of that, isn't there? With Elise and Tchouaméni, Eder Militao for them as well. You have to say on the balance of play, we probably deserve to be ahead. Look at the stats. We've been dominant. Set piece here. Szoboszlai, the man over the ball, looking to find the top corner. And I'll tell you what, Chevalier, I don't know if he needed to save that, but I'm glad he did it. It was one for the cameras. Mo Salah has picked up a knock out on the right-hand side. They don't want to take him off. Liverpool want to win this competition. They believe an injured Mo Salah is better than whoever their plan B is in this moment. Wirtz in the centre of the pitch. Wide to Frimpong. He's stepping forward to the ball. There's loads of players queued up in the middle, headed away by Elise, who's defending very, very deep there. Williams lays it towards Szoboszlai, edge of the box. Gravenberch shoots! That was not far wide. Let's make some early changes here. I'm going to bring in Mora, and I'm going to bring in Ahmad, I think, actually, at centre attacking mid here. That might seem like a little bit of a shock, but to be honest, Elise's not at the best of games. I don't want Bruno getting sent off, because I think he does then have to serve a suspension. Kind of looking at the rest of the team, thinking, is there anyone else I need to be worried about? Gadou's not at the best of matches, but is kind of building up match sharpness. Same with Murillo as well. I think we'll bring in Yoro, actually, for Gadou here. If Liverpool somehow make the miracle comeback, though, Yoro is not taking a penalty if it was to go to a shootout. I refuse to let him. Anyway, we're approaching the hour mark here. Subs have, I think, gone through. Yeah, they have. Ahmad, stepping inside, playing it forward to Tchouaméni. I think another goal here, and you'd say it's game over. To Livramento, lovely little pass. Livramento, a little isolated, but does well to pick out Dorgu. It's from wing-back to wing-back. It's 3-0. I think we have a chance of winning a lot this year. I mean, last year, what was it? Champions League semi-final, third in the Premier League, winners of the Carabao and FA Cup. I think we've proven we can win against any team on our day. And this game underscores how good we are. This team won the Champions League. Oh, I want more. I want more. Not even an hour played here. Rodrigo Mora over it. Now there is an hour played. He took too long to take his corner. It's headed away initially, but still not away from danger. Oh, my word. Mora has absolutely skinned his man. Murillo shoots back to Mora. Murillo has hit the post. Livramento. I thought he'd scored. I've raised my hands there. I'll put them back down. Brought on Mainu at defensive mid for a little bit of stability. I'm hoping we can still keep the clean sheet here as well. There is one last highlight. Imagine if we get another. Sesko, a little isolated on his own here. Probably going to need some support and need to hold up intelligently. Puts it through Kanate's legs there. There's options in the middle. Can't quite get it. But Livramento to Sesko to Ahmad. And that is blocked away. I'll tell you what. On another day, this could have been more than 3. It could still be more than 3, I suppose. Murillo does a 360. Goes down on the floor. It's a goal kick. 1 minute of added time here. There is maybe going to be one last moment of action. Could it be us hitting them on the counter yet again? It's been a sensational performance. First game of the season, the new additions, you don't quite know what to expect from them. It's not like Tchouaméni or Elise had this super standout performance, but The squad that we've built here looking up to the task. Mora through the middle. I am kind of shocked it's only 3. Liverpool had 2 shots on target in that game for like a less than 0.1 XG between them. We're going to lift another piece of silverware. It's our 3rd trip to Wembley as Manchester United manager, and it is our 3rd time hoisting a trophy aloft. What a great performance that was. We can celebrate this, and yeah, it's just the Community Shield. Yes, our player is putting his fist through the plate. Don't question it. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Oh, we get to watch the confetti yet again. Hopefully, we're going to see it a lot more this year. I mean, in terms of openings to the season, I'm going to say it now, I don't think it gets much better than that. Benjamin Sesko with a brace. Hopefully, that is the first of many goals he's going to get this season. Now, looking at our start to the season, you can see we've got Spurs and Villa, and then there's a run of easier games. I am looking at Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea as kind of a trio of matches to maybe do next time. I feel like this season, it's probably worth getting to the back end of the season a little bit quicker. The novelty of our first season in Europe is over. Don't really feel like we need to worry about the early stages of the Carabao or FA Cup having won them. And I feel like those games there are probably going to determine what kind of direction our league season is going in. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think of my transfer business down below, and also any feedback on today's transfer special. Do you prefer the kind of slightly longer in the weeds episode of looking for players, or does this format work better? I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Besides all of that, we will be back on Tuesday for your daily viewing pleasure. Until then, take things easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.